Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, and if you're on this live stream, press 1 now in the chat room. Let's be all appreciated. Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbie. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of GRCAM, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. I created this platform to discuss cultural issues, political issues, and social issues using an Afrocentric perspective. I interview activists, authors, entrepreneurs, and musicians. Some of my critics tell me that my introductions are too long. If you have a short attention span, then I recommend that you just go straight to my Medium transcript located in the comments section of this audio podcast on my YouTube page. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove, and just watch, just watch the videos. You know what I'm saying? Now, those of you that's critical thinkers like me, just hear me out what I have to say, and fact check. Like I say, I come with receipts, so I provide all my sources. But you can fact check that stuff if you like. Know what I'm saying? It's no big deal for me. If you are new to this podcast, or if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel as of yet, please do so now. Be sure to tap that notification bell for alerts when we upload a new video. Please let us know in the comment section below this audio podcast, where are you listening to us from? Also, let us know what's happening in your country, in your state, and or in your city. Then make arrangements with me to come on this platform so we can discuss it in real time. We are a global community, and we want to keep our listeners informed about what's going on with Black people and African people in the United States, in Africa, the Caribbeans. I would like for us to grow this platform to 500,000 strong, and also for us to get our film project fully funded and made, so that way we can use the proceeds from the film to purchase property in Chicago, Illinois, within the Black community. And okay, let me say it this way: within the low-income Black community, as well as in the middle-class Black community. I want GRCAI of Chicago to become an economic base within the Black community. Eventually, in God's timing, we will be hosting African tours, Caribbean tours, and South American tours, so that way we can move beyond cyberspace and make our presence known in the cities and countries around the globe. On this platform, we share news and social commentary on a variety of topics ranging from politics to social justice. I provide my thoughts and details. I provide receipts that support my statements. Again, I notice some of the biggest YouTubers use some of our talking points. I give authentic commentary that speaks to my passion for shining a light on truth and exposing lies and liars alike. I have a zero tolerance for foolishness and disrespect. On this platform, we are more than just talk. We will put boots on the ground and do what we can to help improve the social conditions of our people who want more out of life and who want to become GERCAM members. I'm not here for entertainment. When I pick up this microphone, I'm here to recruit brave and smart Black people and brave and smart African people to work with me in building and running GERCAI of Chicago, and that is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. I've given notice to everyone on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my TikTok page, my LinkedIn page, and my X page. If you do not care about solving Black issues or solving African issues, then please delete me off your friends list and go on about your business. And that's real. Disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is based on public available reports and verified media sources. We fully comply with YouTube's community guidelines. We do not promote violence, hate, or misinformation in any form. This podcast is available in two forms: audio and also as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our Black media component. I would like to encourage my listeners to subscribe to my Medium page where you can follow along during this presentation. I provide my Medium transcript in the comment section below this audio podcast. If you are a Black artist, African artist, such as an author, comedian, poet, musician, or entrepreneur, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform so that way you can promote your books, your business, your music, your jokes. And if you have a small ministry, then you are more than welcome to share a 30-minute sermon with my listeners from the global community. After the show, I offer an incentive to my guest speakers by teaching them how to create their own podcast, YouTube channel, and get it monetized, as well as assist them with creating a free Wix website. If you do not know how to use StreamYard or Zoom, then make arrangements with me and I would teach you how to use both of them so that way you can come on this platform and promote your products and services. I am available Wednesday, August 19th, Thursday through Sunday, August 23rd, Monday, August 24th, Tuesday, August 25th, Thursday, August 27th, Friday, August 28th, Sunday, August 30th, and Monday, August 31st, all between 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. American Central Time. If you are not on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, LinkedIn page, TikTok page, or my X page, then I recommend that you send me a friend request to my Medium page located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Let me take that back. Send me a friend request to either of those pages that I just mentioned above, to my revised link tree page. And so I'm going to have, my Facebook page on there, Instagram page, LinkedIn, TikTok, and X. So I recommend that you, send me a friend request either to my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, TikTok page, or X, because I don't really mess with Instagram as much. So along with your email address, so that way I can email you everything that I do online. If you are a member of my GERCAI of Africa group on Facebook, then don't worry about getting my ebook. I am mindful that those of you who reside on the continent are living from hand to mouth. I need for you all to step up and help put this platform on blast by leaving a public comment about the topics in the comment section. Most of all, please share my YouTube link with all of your friends on Facebook and any other social media sites that you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Doesn't matter how bad I would like to get this Christian business up and running. Without financial support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my God given assignment, which is to build the best Black Christian business within the United States of America with the help of CAM members. And that is to build the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. We're going to build it from the mud. We're going to own it. We're going to do that before I cut and run to Africa. That's all I'm saying. And that's my credibility. This platform is my credibility. My revised book is my credibility. And anybody that disagrees with my vision and plan in the book, my advice to you is to delete me off your friends list. Do not come to no events with my name on it. And do not change your mind, because I ain't changing mine. And that's real. I encourage Black content creators and African content creators who have a large following. Please allow me to come on your platform so that way I can speak to your audience about my revised book and my film project. After all, this Christian business is for Black millennials and Generation Z. This is not my burden alone, for this is a shared burden that CAM members must fix within Black society. I don't want the brand and the vision to die in America. I am pushing this vision to the Black world. This is my contribution to Africa's rising. This year, we are determined to get this film project fully funded and made so that we can get our story on the big screen in order to reach the Black world, let them know who we are and what we're trying to do for my people, Black Americans who identify as DAS-FM. That stands for Descendants of American Slaves / Freemen, who are trapped in American ghettos, specifically Black Chicago. Upcoming events. Saturday, August 29th, 2026, we're hosting our monthly virtual town hall. I encourage 5 people from my Facebook page, Instagram page, LinkedIn page, TikTok page, or X page to come forth and to be on the panel so that way we can discuss our monthly theme. Our monthly theme in August is, quote, navigating the future with AI and tech, moving the Black community forward. Where? YouTube Live. When? Saturday, August 29th, 2026. Time, 2 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. If you're interested, then please send me a message to my Facebook inbox along with your email address so that I can email you specific instruction about being on the panel. If you are unable to participate on our monthly virtual town hall meeting, no problem. Then please listen to the replay. Leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast. And most of all, please share this audio podcast with your friends on all social media sites that you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. If you don't know how to use StreamYard, then make arrangements with me. I already listed the dates that I'm available above. And, I'll teach you how to use it. After the panel discuss the topic, then we will drop the StreamYard link in the chat room and open it up for Q&A. So I'm giving everybody that's on my friends list an opportunity to ask specific questions. You can ask me or the panelists. You know what I'm saying? Get on camera and let's have a conversation. But again, I do all of this stuff in order to try to recruit people to get involved. Especially Black people beyond Chicago African immigrants across the United States from 10 African nations. That's all I'm trying to do. Um, Title of this presentation: Tasha K apologized to FBA. Nigerian sister upset with Asian hair company for trademarking Yoruba, and Haitian woman accusing Black Americans of not liking them. Why is she not focusing on ICE? Our first topic: Tasha K apologized to FBA. Tasha K finally addresses the controversy surrounding her comments about FBA, Foundational Black Americans, but the attempt to clear the air only made the situation more complicated. Instead of the unity she longed for, her response revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of the systematic grievances Black Americans are now navigating. In this episode, we break down why her apology falls flat. It doesn't erase the, the life experience of those who feel marginalized, and why the desire for delineation isn't about hatred, it's about leverage and value. I've reached a point where I have to call out the intellectual dishonesty when I see it, especially when popular figures try to label a quest for self preservation as equivalent to the very systems that have historically worked against us. It's time to move past the surface level unity ops and have an honest conversation about who is actually benefiting from these toxic um, relationships and who is being left behind. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, common news reporting, teaching, scholarships, education, and research. And just in case if they have any music that's playing in the background, I do not own any rights to those um, songs. So again, I'm just saying up front, fair use to all the videos that I'm going to play on this platform today. A few days ago, I ran across a TikTok video entitled, quote, Tasha K apologized to FBA, unquote. To watch the video clip, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section on my YouTube page. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Tasha K is a gossip com, um, com okay, hold on, columnist. During one of her live streams, she was talking about a number of issues on YouTube, but it came to a part in the episode in which I believe somebody was in the comment section asking her about her opinion about FBA. Tasha K decided to say it was no different than the KKK, meaning meant to divide. Her video went viral. Tasha K accused the foundational Black American movement of being racist, just like the Ku Klux Klan. Many people got upset on YouTube. This does not mean that she hates Black Americans. Just hear me out for a moment. There are certain people who believe that dividing Black people and African people is working into the hands of white supremacy. And that's true, because we have a whole bunch of sellouts. And, that's unfortunate. I believe that Tasha K means well, but her articulation of why Black Americans want to delineate does not come out well, because largely her feelings are hurt when somebody talks about her husband. Now, Tasha K would take back some of those things she said about FBA. The first thing I would want to know from Tasha K is, Who are these people that she's talking she's talking about online? Tasha K is a big time influencer in the black uh, niche. She has broken stories. She's been in court. She has exposed other people. Tasha K has always felt very strong about anti delineation movements and people who have called out Africans because she wants all black people to be together. She has a successful relationship with Africa. This is something that is debated within Pan African communities all the time. Allow me to prove my point with a few examples. First of all, a twisted FBA was calling her husband an African booty scratcher. Very disrespectful. Right there. That was not called for. She had every right to lash out because someone disrespected her loved one. Tasha K is married to a man from Mali, has also experienced a benefit from working with Africans. She has African fans. She has people from Mali in her family. She may have businesses in Africa as well. She sees the benefit of working and scaling through Africa's talented diaspora or the African continent in particular. An FBA claim to came to my Substack page and demanded that I stop allying with African immigrants. I told the dude he was overstepping his boundaries. A few days later, my page was taken down. This dude decided to call me a teller. I'm like, what? Now, a teller is someone who has relocated from Africa or the Caribbean to the United States of America and pretend to be a Black American. Often they hold anti Black sentiments and use white supremacist talking points against Black Americans. They moved to America for economic opportunities using the benefits of the American Negro civil rights struggle while simultaneously disparaging the Black American history, legacy, and lineage of the Negro American movement. First and foremost, I told that dude that I'm from the soil and we're from the same lineage. Only thing is, I don't identify as FBA. I'm DAS FM. And if you have a problem with that, that's your business. That DAS FM again is descendants of American slaves / freedmen. Second of all, I'm trying to build my business in the inner cities to help our youth from um, joining gangs and getting into trouble, getting out of the street life, to help stop the genocide in our community. Especially, that's where all the violence take place, in the low income Black community, the ghetto. This is why I created this platform. And this dude gonna sit up here and talk all off the wall, just some off code dude. It's a straight up turn off. And now I don't deal with FBA. FBAs, as far as I'm concerned, the ones that come to my page, because I'm not bugging. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help out my own people. But the ones that come to my page, and others, they have a reputation of just, starting conflict. They want to, do this diaspora wars. I ain't on that at all. The grassroots community activist movement, that's what we stand on. That's what I already created. And I want to move this business from behind the computer and make our presence known in the inner cities. However, trying to sell this book. You know what I'm saying? That's all I have. My book and my revised book. Sorry, I have my book and my virtual store. I ain't even pushing the virtual store that much because I know I know what it is. I know people don't, those that's paranoid, saying, "Oh, that's a scam," blah blah blah. But selling a book is not a scam, not at all. I'm letting you know in detail what this business is about. I'm letting the whole world know. Matter of fact, ain't no secret. I ain't talking in code. But as far as I'm concerned, this is going to be membership based. That's all I'm saying. And no, I'm not fooling with FBA if you're gonna step to me incorrect. But if you dash FM, you know what I'm saying, and you don't have no issue, you want to utilize our programs and services, cool. I'll work with you and your immediate family members for life, and that's real. But we're gonna heal in this business. Black Americans is going to heal from that slave mentality. African immigrants is going to heal from that colonized mindset before we bring the business over to the African continent. That's all I'm saying. And again, that's for credibility. Um, so that's what this is all about. No one is going to tell me who to ally with, especially an off-code, uneducated person who fails to understand what I'm trying to do for our people who are trapped in American ghettos, specifically in Black Chicago. If you're not DAS FM or an African immigrant ally or a CAM member, then I'm not fooling with you. That's how I feel. My Christian business is membership based, as I stated. In GCAM, we are about building and healing, nothing else. We ain't coming over here with that drama. Running my business the way I run my home, drama free. And that's real. That's why we're going to vet everybody once we get that physical building. And that's real. Both Black Americans and African immigrants who join CAM will learn how to respect each other's culture, how to do business together, so that way we can replicate Gakai of Chicago in 10 African nations. African immigrants from Nigeria and Ghana will not be calling Black Americans Akatas. Africans from Somalia will not be calling Black Americans Jariers. Black Americans will not be calling African immigrants tethers. Again, we will show mutual respect for each other. We can't build with the enemy within our group, such as con artists, black boule, degenerates, Democrat shields, hardened criminals, pedophiles, off-code Negroes, and urban terrorists. We can't build with those type of people. And those people will not be part of my business, and there will be consequences. That's all I'm saying. Doggone it. This is how I get down. Secondly, Africa has all the resources, not Europe, not America, none of these Western nations. Brothers like 19 Keys travel back and forth to Uganda. 19 Keys is an influencer throughout the diaspora. Now he plans to go to Nigeria and Ghana. So when he says that we should not focus on delineation, what he's saying is that building with Africa is an opportunity. You can get more leverage in Africa than you can in the Black community. 19 Keys is proof that you can extend your reach into a whole other continent by collaborating and doing business with 1.4 billion people. That's all I'm trying to do. FBA is willing to ruin the elevation and unification of Black Americans globally because they're still having immature conversation about name calling. Afro Think Tank is from Washington D.C., and he's concerned that the foundational Black Americans philosophy of delineation is going to prevent Black Americans and African immigrants from working together. He's a Yor- Yoruba chief in Nigeria. He's been able to expand his reach. He's been able to make money and support himself. Going to Africa and doing well. Most people will always take the side of the Pan African argument. In the 1990s, when Black Americans moved to Johannesburg because of a documentary called, quote, Blacks Without Borders, unquote, you're going to support what financially benefits you, and largely you're going to tell somebody else that this can work for them. The problem is with people like 19 Keys, Afro Think Tank, and others, brothers and sisters, talking about building and unifying. Many Black Americans don't see the value. There is no way for us to convince them. The reality is, the average Black Americans might never leave their city or leave their own state. Tasha K has some rogue FBA online saying disparaging things about her husband, and she had every right to defend her family. The problem with our people is that we look down on our own. You have the Black grassroots, those of us that's trying to wake our people up, but among us, you have sellouts and raccoons. The majority of Black Americans are still on the Democrat plantation. The Democrat plantation is a political metaphor used by Black Americans to criticize the Democrat Party's relationship with minority voters, particularly Black Americans. Proponents of the term argue that modern social welfare programs and political strategies create a cycle of government dependency compared to the historical plantation system. Critics assert that the Democrat Party relies on identity politics to secure predictable voting bloc from minority communities without delivering sufficient economic or social progress in exchange for their votes. This is where the term transitional voting comes from. Vo- Voter autonomy. Critics of the phrase note that it strips minority voters of their political agenda and ignores the complex, independent reasons why millions of blacks and minority continue to support Democrat policies and candidates. Historical shifts. Opponents point out a major ideological realignment in U.S. policy during the mid 20th century, where Southern Southern conservatives who originally defended segregation and Jim Crow laws largely transitioned from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party following the civil rights movement. Black Americans have allowed the, this boat lift all tides, and we don't gatekeep anything because that's what we've been taught. That's why people like Fat Joe can come in our space and say hip hop was created by black people and Latinos 50-50. Other groups came Other groups can come over here and cosplay us while they're putting nothing back into the black community. That's our fault. So now you have the black grassroots promoting the delineation movement. We're locking the doors. Everyone has to show their paperwork. You got to show who you are. A lot of people who have been making money off our culture has a problem with that. Das FM is a lineage. You have the Hebrew Israelites, Moors, Nubians, Black Muslims, Black Christians, all are part of our lineage. We're from all different places. We are not all the same. Some of our biggest um, det- det- detractors are our own people because of self hate and because of a majority of Black Americans have become Americanized, have adopted a narcissist attitude, as well as taking on the colonizer's ways. This is why it has taken me 34 years and I'm still on first base. Not because I didn't try, it's because of this slave mentality within Black society. As a collective, we've been trained to give everything away. Now we're starting to gatekeep once again. Tasha K has been forced to apologize because most of her fans are FBA. Again, that was uncalled for to call her husband an African booty scratcher. That's to me is a straight up turn off. It's just ridiculous. And to see our own Black people acting this way in public is not cool at all. We've been conditioned to hurt each other. On this platform, we have to have these tough love conversations with Black people and African people. That's the only way we are going to heal collectively, and then we can fight against white supremacy head on. But until then, our Black children and our African children will continue to suffer because we're still under global white supremacy. The fourth amendment, the 14th Amendment was created for our lineage, but these white supremacist financial elites are allowing other groups to hide behind our bill and our struggles. Anyone can choose to come over here and have a baby and become a U.S. citizen. That's not the same as descendants of American slaves slash freedmen, whose ancestors were forced on those slave ships to North America and build this nation from the ground up because those white supremacist financial elites were too lazy to work themselves. They destroyed our family structure, our religion, our language. They also lumped all of these other groups into our grandparents' fight, which was civil rights movement for Negroes. The white supremacist financial elites included the term minority, which included Arabs, Asians, East Indians, Latinos, and white women. And doggone it, those people was not on those plantations. So, yeah, they were piggybacking off our struggle. That's all that is. But that reparation belongs to us, and we're gonna get our reparations. And if not, okay, cool. We can't make white America give us our reparations, but then we don't have to work for them neither. We don't have to do business with them. It's just that simple. Same thing on the African continent. If those Europeans don't want to give y'all reparations for colonization, don't do business with them. You have more leverage than us. All we can hold is our political vote. You all got the minerals and the natural resources that those people need because they can't make it. God gave those resources to us, and then they got a nerve. They got a long track record of treating Black people, African people ill, putting my people on trees, treating my people like trash and all that garbage. But before I cut and run to Africa, I would just want African immigrants to work with me to help me get this business popping here in Chicago, just Chicago alone. As I stated in the book, I wish it would be 25 cities within 25 states. I'm scrapping that. What this is going to be proof that we was here, that we built this thing, and yes, I'm going to continue to tell my story. 34 years. That's not cool at all. That's an insult. But I promise you one thing: once we get this business up and running in Chicago, and I want to make sure that Sister Renee is going to be well taken care of, I'm out. And when I come to Africa, we're only going to focus on solving African issues. But I want the whole Black world to know my story. This is straight up ridiculous. And I want to make sure none of my members never have to endure this type of foolishness. Because again, the white man is not stopping Black Americans from buying my book, from buying items from my virtual store, or from donating to the film project. That's all a personal choice. And my own family members, full of Willie Lynch, they're not supportive. And that's cool, no problem. And they got a nerve to sit up here and tell me to get a real quote unquote job, mean work for the white man. Anybody tell me that garbage, we will remain strangers for life. I'm letting you know that up front. That's a straight up turn off. Because doggone it, it was our people that built Black Wall Street during Jim Crow. We can do those things again. But again, we got to connect with other like-minded individuals. At this point, Black America has only two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace my vision and plan if you want to survive in America. Because I'm only responsible for GKL members and their immediate family members. That's all I'm responsible for. Once GKL members helped me build GKI of Chicago, I would turn over the business to my advisory board and expand my Christian business to Africa, starting in Kenya, if the Kenyan people receive me. Hear me loud and clear, Kenyans. You got Kenyan community that's here in America. Stand up. Help me get that ebook on that bestsellers list. Work with me with this film project so we can get it popping. That way, that's going to put me in a better position financially so I can hire Black people, African people, and others. That book is meant to be sold, not to sit on Amazon. When we bring GKI to Africa, we will focus on solving African issues point blank. I refuse to sit here and continue another 34 years trying to fight for people who care less about improving the low-income Black community, let alone fighting for Black children who are trapped in American ghettos. Hey, I'm trying, but I don't want to waste another 34 years, and that's real. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. And again, I will show those videos, about Tasha K and the video about this Nigerian sister, which is the next topic. I'm gonna do all of that stuff, but I want to go through my presentation first. So, our second topic: Nigerian sister upset with Asian hair company for trademarking Yoruba. I watched a TikTok video about a Nigerian sister who was upset with an Asian hair company for trademarking her lineage. The video is entitled Asian Company Trademarking Yoruba. To watch the video clip, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section on my YouTube page. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. On the video, the Nigerian sister was upset that a Asian hair company disrespected her Yoruba lineage. I believe she needs to get the Nigerian community behind her, and they need to file a lawsuit against that Asian hair company. Because doggone it, they just sitting up here trying to copy the white man, trying to be a colonizer. Well, I prefer to show the video after I finish my presentation. We have to have this conversation about disrespecting people's lineage. I don't believe in disrespecting anyone's lineage, religion, heritage, none of that. Most of us, as Black Americans, descendants of American slaves slash freemen, were raised to respect everybody. Those of us who are of sound mind representing our lineage should be listened to. This is why I promote many Black content creators and African content creators on my Medium transcript because I want to share videos of other Black grassroots media outlets to let my listeners know that we are doing the work, sharing information on a local, national, and international level. The, the Yoruba is a Nigerian tribe that was in West Africa, and they still are in West Africa for thousands of years before the arrival of Europeans. Now you have this Asian hair company trying to turn it into a commercial property. They thought it was okay to disrespect Nigerian culture and people by trademarking the tribal name Yoruba. Asians own Shake and Go. And also, I just want to go before I go any further. Now, these same Asians, they would have a fit if Africans or Black Americans would try to trademark. I think it's called H mark. You know, yeah, using their stuff that's important to their culture, but they want to sit up here and do this to other people's culture. It's just. um They are colonizing the black beauty industry. In the video, this Nigerian sister was talking about how this Asian hair company decided to trademark one of the West African tribes from Nigeria known as Yoruba. To view the actual website entitled Trademark Yoruba, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comments section on my YouTube page. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. On the website, quote, trademark Yuba. It displays the serial number, registration number, the filing date was back in 2017. It was registered in 2018. It's known for selling hair products. They also own Shake and Go out of New York City. If you go through the Shake and Go website, it's nothing but black women that they're advertising to. It's and it's owned by Asians. That's the thing. And again, we're doing this wealth transfer. So again, ladies and gentlemen, help get my ebook on this bestsellers list so that way I can move from behind this computer. You know what I'm saying? Reason I do this every week because this is my way of just letting you all know that this is real and I'm serious. But again, God give us free will. um it's all marketed toward black women. Y'all have been the economic base for these people for many years, helping these people get billions of dollars. While brothers like myself and others that's trying to do something positive in our community, trying to get our business up and running, shoot, we'll be overlooked. Just ridiculous, big time. But hey, it is what it is. Ever since the delineation movement, which is a social and political effort by Black Americans who identify as FBA, Foundational Black Americans, or ADOS, American descendants of slavery, to separate from other groups, specifically ethnic identity, culture, and lineage from immigrant populations, Asians, Latinos, white Americans, etc. Now we're doing a wealth transfer from Asian businesses within the Black community due to the disrespect of Black Americans and the murder of two Black children. I agree with this Nigerian sister. They should not disrespect other people's lineage. They should not use Nigerian tribal names to promote products because a lot of people's lineage is tied to pain and suffering. Here's the issue: just as much as the Nigerian sister is upset with the Yoruba name being trademarked for commercial goods, a lot of Black Americans said the same thing about how some African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans was being disrespectful towards Black American culture. This made Brother Tariq Nasheed coin the term FBA, Foundational Black American, and trademark it back in 2020. On this platform, we use the term DAS FM, Descendants of American Slaves slash Freedmen, because again, FBA, they have a negative history of just being just acting the most online. And like I say, it was a twisted FBA brother that got me kicked off of Substack. That wasn't cool at all. So I don't want to fool with you. I don't. If you want to claim to be FBA, keep it moving. You're not welcome over here. I told you we were the same lineage. But hey, if you want to stick to, oh, hey, I'm FBA, I'm not going to say I'm DAS FM, then okay, fine. Keep it moving. No problem. Because, they got a negative history. And then that brother didn't have to sit up here and call me no doggone tether. And I'm up here trying to do something positive for my brothers and sisters that's trapped in American ghettos where I was raised at, trying to give back. That sucker don't know me. He didn't read my book. That's all right. It is what it is. Um, we are all about building and healing. We're drama free. Let's be clear. It was our ancestors from the civil rights era who helped get African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans an opportunity to come to this country based on our grandparents' blood, sweat, and tears. I have several flyers about Juneteenth events that were very disrespectful towards Black Americans, which is why FBA is growing larger than DAS FM. But hey, it is what it is. DAS FM, we also a Christian. This is a Christian organization. So it is what it is. We're from the same lineage, but we have different ideology. We will eventually outgrow their numbers in due time. It appears that a few African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans decided to hijack Juneteenth by removing Black Americans and making it about RAS, reggae, Afro beats, and I guess soca. They're using our heritage and our emancipation to promote their own agenda and culture. Not a good look. My African immigrants and Afro Caribbean immigrants. That's not a good look at all. And in my business, that's why I want to make sure that we ain't gonna be harboring those type of people that have um, a dislike towards Black American, because that's what I am. And I'm not gonna let you disrespect my ancestors at all. Instead of them saying, let's support our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, they helped pave the way for us to come to the United States of America. They Instead, they want to talk down about our ancestors, and that's not cool at all. Anchor Cam, we will check anybody who dares talk down about our ancestors, and I agree with Tyreek about that issue. DAS FM run the yard here in America. We are the culture. We see all these foreign flags on Juneteenth flyers. We don't see one American flag. It's not even the colors of Black America, which are red, white, and blue, not yellow, green, and red, showing up on HBCU campuses talking about a takeover. But y'all never do that at those white public institutions talking about some takeover. Well, what's up with that double standard? We the one who got you here. So that's what I'm so, that's a turnoff right there. That's not cool. Like I say, we equal opportunity over here. We talk about FBA and you know, we gonna check. I would say African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans that get out of pocket. We're gonna check you. That's all. Juneteenth is not about all these foreign flags. It's about my ancestors being emancipated from American slavery. June 19th, 1865. We don't have a problem with people celebrating Juneteenth. Notice the comparisons of that Asian hair company registered Yoruba as a trademark and how that sister felt. That's the same way Black Americans feel about the Juneteenth takeover. Nobody should be taking over anything. You are you all are welcome to celebrate with us. That's no problem. But you can't take over. That's our day and that's our party. You know what I'm saying? We don't go to the Nigerian independence celebration talking about some DAS FM takeover of the Nigerian Independence Day. A lot of Black Americans got upset with Richard Dennis about the Essence Fest. He tried to include jollof rice competition in New Orleans. Where's the dirty rice versus the gumbo competition? It's always divisive when Black Americans speak out against this type of stuff. The moral of the story: everybody's lineage should be respected. Everybody's culture should be respected. No takeovers of nobody's culture. That's it. Black Americans don't have a spirit of colonizing others. That's not who we are as a people. Unlike Pan Africanism, which is a one way benefit for African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans when they arrive in America. But when Black Americans come to Africa, we have to come with a bag. That's not cool. In Cam, both groups, Black Americans, African immigrants, as well as Afro Caribbeans, will benefit. My people who are trapped in American, my people who are trapped in the inner cities will benefit because we will be an economic base in both the low income Black community and the middle class Black community. This is why we will build Gakai of Chicago first for credibility. This is why GCAM members will have their thumbprints placed in our database to make sure everybody is doing their part. For example, we will exchange art, music, food, films in America and vice versa in Africa, meaning um, international trade among our people locally, nationally, and internationally. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Our third topic: Haitian woman accused Black Americans of not liking them. This is not liking them. Why is she not focusing on ICE? I watched a TikTok video about a Haitian woman accusing Black Americans of not liking them. Why is she not focusing on ICE? The video is entitled Dear African American. To watch the video clip, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section on my YouTube page. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. First of all, it was not Black Americans who ended TPS, which stands for Temporary Protective. Um, okay, dang, I forgot that last part. Temporary protective, I guess, status. Yes, it was the Trump administration. They pursued to end TPS not only for Haiti, but also Ethiopia, Syria, Yemen, South Sudan, and other nations. The majority of Black Americans did not vote for President Trump. Black Americans had nothing to do with that at all. The Supreme Court of the United States allowed him to end TPS for Haitians and other immigrant groups. But instead of focusing on the Trump administration, we keep seeing videos directed towards Black Americans. The question from all these other groups is why Black Americans aren't doing anything about it. We are minding our own business. We have delineated from all these other groups because many of these same groups are against our reparations, and that's not cool. We helped y'all to get over here, and you're gonna just act a fool with us. That's a straight up turn off. It really is. But let me stay focused. I want you all to hear what this Haitian woman has to say because she's questioning Black Americans. I met with a few Haitians when I was in college. At the time when I launched Gurkam online, I tried to reach out to Haitians, Jamaicans, and the excuse me, and the African community to build a bridge between their community and the Black community. Many of them preferred their own enclave. I tried to explain to them that we are stronger together than we are separated. I noticed that African immigrants were viewing Black Americans as another tribe. I tried to explain to them that racist white Americans view all of us as one big Negro, and the only way to survive in the United States of America is for Black people and African people to work together and practice group economics or collective economics. Fast forward in 2026, when I engage with other Black Americans, we're not discussing Haitians. I believe the Haitian community runs deep in Miami, Florida, and in New York City. I also believe that the Haitian community is popping in Evanston, Illinois. We didn't engage with y'all because you are not around us. So, how could we have hatred toward you if you are not even around us? My second question is why are you worried about Black Americans? It wasn't Black Americans that ended TPS, it was the Trump administration. It was people from your own community, like Chef Creole Haitian, who voted for Trump to end TPS for people in your community. All of you who are Haitian Americans and who can vote need to focus on the midterm election in November. Vote for candidates who will protect your interests. That would be Democrats. Kama- Kamala Harris wasn't going to do anything for Black Americans. I know she would have kept y'all here though, because that's the agenda, but I'll leave that alone. She wouldn't have ended your TPS. This is something that I know. The question is whether all the Haitian Americans and other immigrants. So let me say that again. The question is where all the Haitian Americans and other immigrants. How many of y'all voted for Trump? That's a question you got to have among yourselves. All immigrants who are on TPS, you need to put pressure on your family members who are legal U.S. citizens. Make sure that they vote the Republicans out of office if you are serious about remaining in America. Just offering you some free advice, but please stop crying about Black Americans are trying are saying about you online and focus on the midterm election. I told y'all for years the most important elections are your local elections and your state elections. Anything related to Illinois and Chicago, because I live here and it affects me. Immigrants had a lot to lose in the 2024 election. You had immigrants who voted for Trump. The question y'all should have within the immigrant community: why are you voting against your own interests? or why your family members are voting against you. If Black Americans didn't confront white supremacy, then none of you would be in America. The white supremacist financial elites only wanted white Europeans. My ancestors were the people that opened the doors to allow all of these non white immigrant groups to come to the United States of America in the first place. This is why I'm fighting as hard as I can to get my Christian business, Kakai of Chicago, up and running in America, specifically in Chicago, so that when I come to Africa, I don't have to waste time telling everyone who I am. My Christian business, my book, and my film will speak volumes. I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to recruit brave and smart Black Americans beyond Chicago and brave and smart African immigrants across the United States of America from 10 African nations to help me build and run the best Black Christian business within the United States of America, and that will be the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago for credibility before I cut and run to Africa. If, if Black Americans had an issue with Haitians or anybody else, then we would not have kicked the door open. We would have just focused on ourselves. We wouldn't have sat up here and fought for and agreed with Hart the Hart-Celler Act of 1965. The Hart-Celler Act, also known as the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, was a landmark U.S. federal law signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson on October 3rd, 1965. Just bear with me, you ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Um, it completely abolished the old national origin quota system, ending decades of strict immigration policy that favored Northern and Western Europe while severely restricting. Oh man, now my screen is freezing. Restricting or barring people from Asia, Africa, and Southern and Eastern Europe. This came out as a result of the civil rights movement. My suggestion to Haitians: focus your attention on making videos about how your community needs to prepare for the midterm election and less on FBA talking trash about you online. The Trump administration mobilize should have mobilized all of you who are U.S. citizens to get yourself registered to vote and get those Republicans out of office. That should be your priority. You should be out there in your community trying to educate your people about getting the Republicans out of office because they are targeting your community. Black Americans are not your issue. We're not picking you up and putting you into detention centers and putting you on a plane back to your homeland. Haitians haven't done us anything as a collective of people. So why would we hate you? Okay? Focus your attention on white America. Help your people and get your people registered to vote for the midterms so that y'all can vote those Republicans out of office that's targeting your community. That's what you can do to help Haitians. Make more videos, but stop making videos about Black Americans. Because Black Americans is not ICE picking you up and deporting you. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast. Share with your friends and social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. I am a Black American, a descendant of American slaves / freedmen. I am called to help improve the lives of Black Americans who become GCAM members and build a connection with African immigrants who want to be a part of us. GCAM members will assist me in building and running this Christian business, Gurkai of Chicago, so that both groups, Black Americans and African immigrants, can build and heal from the scars of slavery and colonization. My people who have the moral capital, I fight for civil rights and human rights. This business is for you and your immediate family members. Thank you for listening to our audio podcast and for joining us on the stream. We greatly appreciate it. I need you all to support our film project so that way we can move GCAM to the next level. That is the big screen, to let the whole Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for descendants of American slaves / freedmen who reside in the low-income Black community, as well as the middle-class Black community. Quote, Hood Liberator made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins, unquote. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our crowdfunding pages, which are our GoFundMe page, our Buy Me a Coffee page, or our PayPal Giving Fund page, which will help fund, market, promote, tongue twisted, which will help fund marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. Thank you for listening to our YouTube live or the replay. If you reside on the African continent, then I recommend that you follow me on my Pod Chaser because it won't eat away your bundles. It's only audio. I provide the link in the comments section below this audio podcast. If you are new to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast, welcome to our safe space where we discuss Black issues and African issues. We do this every week. This will conclude our audio podcast for today. Like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next episode. Now, before I go, like I say, I want to show you all some video clips so that way you can get a chance to check them out. Okay. All righty. Let's see what we're gonna play first. Okay, let me look for the Tasha K apology. Tasha K. All right, y'all, here we go.
KKK. To anybody that I've offended, I didn't mean to offend you. I don't do that. I want any and everybody to be up in here having a good time. Lately, on social media, given the Nolan Wells situation, I mean, just any and everything that has to do with our culture, our people, Blacks as a whole, for some reason, I have been dragged into these conversations. So yesterday's show, had me fired up because to refer to my family, and I get it, everybody has, they say any and everything about my family, but to see, I guess, them say that I don't somehow care about my people because I married an African man. To refer to me and my platform or my husband as booty scratcher. Now he laughed about it, it's fine. But for me, I don't know, that hit different because I got a son. And to see our own Black people, like, that's cool. So here's the thing. And everybody's entitled, but here's the thing. I didn't have to react that way because at the end of the day, when I get up here, whether I make $1 or not, and I was unmonetized on this platform for a long time. To anybody that felt offended by me referring to FBA as a KKK, I wholeheartedly apologize. All I saw was divisiveness, and I saw a group of people attacking me, attacking my family. So I attacked back. So I'm grateful to my winos that are on the app that are educating me, that are emailing me, that are apologizing for, I guess, a few bad actors that are out there. But when you do Google it, That's all that comes up. Divisiveness. I don't know who's representing y'all's lineage or our lineage, because I'm from America. I was born here. My mom was born here. One thing that bothers me is when I see black on black like racism. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to this movement. I just know how I felt when I was attacked, when my family was attacked, and I decided to just, here we go. I will lend my platform on Sunday. I want the people that y'all listen to, if they are true educators in this FBA lineage, I want to talk to them. There are a lot of people that are just like me that are confused, generally confused about what this is. Please email me, unwindwithTashaK@gmail.com. Let me know who are your teachers when it comes to the FBA lineage. If it's a great thing, I would love to open up my platform to educate more about it.
Okay, but real question. Have you ever gotten ready for date night and realized you've been running around all day? Work, errands, life, and now you're supposed to feel fresh and confident? That's why I keep Umi in my purse. It's a pre-moistened essential oil-infused terry cloth towel that actually refreshes your skin, not just mask it. It wipes away sweat, leaves you feeling clean.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, let's see. What's this other one? All right, just bear with me and trying to figure out the next video. All right, here we go. Here's the next video, ladies and gentlemen.
Ethnicity, a whole tribe. You trademark the name Yoruba, something that belongs to African. You know how sick in the head you have to be to turn a whole cultural identity, a whole ethnicity, a whole tribe. You trademark the name Yoruba, something that belongs to African people, and you turn it into commercial property. Like I don't understand where this disrespect is coming from. First, it was Patrick Tal with the whole transitional blush nonsense and the thing he did with Painted by as the thing he did to Painted by S, and now with Shake and Go, a whole Asian hair company decided that they thought it was okay to disrespect Africans and trademark the name Yoruba for what? Even I've never seen an African be bold enough to trademark the name Yoruba, but an Asian company decided that they were going to disregard and disrespect a whole tribe and trademark the name from where to where, as how for hair. You guys know Shake and Go, but when you used to walk into the beauty supply stores, their posters will be everywhere. They sell everything. So what concerns Shake and Go hair with Yoruba? What was the point of trademarking the name Yoruba? This is so on track with colonialism. I don't know what it is that's making you guys bold. All you guys do is steal, and it's making me sick to my stomach. I'm sick and tired of the blatant disrespect, because for you to literally commercialize, like you trademark and then now commercialize Yoruba, something you have no association with whatsoever. Like, is it crack? You know how sick in the head you have to be.
Okay, so here's like some of these flyers. To me, that's disrespecting, Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? Talking about for the people, biggest Juneteenth celebration. Okay, so right here they're talking about Afrobeat, reggae. Okay, town hall. I mean dance hall, hip hop, R&B. You know, and see all these foreign flags. Ain't nothing about Black America, red, white, and blue. Nothing about that, about American flags. Instead, it's all these foreign flags. And so that's disrespectful. And so that's what make a lot of that's what gave rise to the FBA. And those kind of people, in the FBA, they're not like us over here. We more, I'ma just say we patient, and but our thing is that, yeah, we're gonna be checking people too, but I'm just saying we're not gonna sit up here and just be um dissing people like how I was dissed, getting people kicked off of Substack and stuff like that because they're trying to promote what they're trying, promote something positive. That wasn't cool. What, like I say, that twisted FBA did to me. That's a straight up turn off. But that's this is some of the stuff I'm talking about. Let's see. Like I said, I told you I come with receipts, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the reggae Afro beats. Nice flyers, but I'm just saying, you taking out the, it's like a birthday celebration for us. It's our party, but you leaving us out of it, and you just trying to hijack our stuff, and that's not cool. That's very disrespectful. See, yeah, 100% reggae, Afro, excuse me, Afro beats, and soca. So yeah, they ain't got nothing to do with Black American, not at all. Go. Here's the shake and go. This is owned by an Asian. This is not owned by an African or Black owned. It's an Asian. See how they do? They sitting up here um, trying to, yes, they're making it off of us. So that's how come it's important, ladies and gentlemen, for y'all to help get my ebook on that bestsellers list so I can hire people so we can get this thing popping. Dang. Things are gonna get worse. I can't do much right now because I'm not making money from my book or from my virtual store. But you all supporting people like him, these people are making billions of dollars a year. And we can do the same thing in Kyle, Chicago. I mean, we're going to have a cosmetology school. I talk about that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not easy. Main thing is first I got to get this thing moving from behind a computer. But I'm grateful that I have an international audience now. I'm grateful. Just doing my best in Africa. If y'all serious about me bringing my business over to the African continent, I will create jobs for GCAM members. If you're not gonna be a GCAM member, I ain't stuck. I ain't gonna fool with you. That's how it is. More stuff I want to show you. Here's the Yoruba, trademark, you know, registration number and the date it was established. Okay, the filing date right here and registration. So up there in New York, New York City, y'all need to sue this company. You can't sit up here and hijack somebody else's culture. They can't use that name. That don't belong to him. Sue him. You know what I'm saying? Up here making money off of your off of that tribal name. So they're going too far, but hey, it is what it is. But this is what happens when we, as black people and African people, are not working together. That's why I built GCAM in the first place. But it's what it is. And yes, I am gonna complain. I'm not gonna sit up here and hold my peace. Shoot. Up here wasting money and stuff like that. I've been paying uh for this business title for 16 years. That's ridiculous. Anyway, this lady, this is from South America. So that's disrespectful. You don't see black Americans going to South Africa and let's say Nelson Mandela Day and talking about some takeover and all that kind of stuff. Just promoting black American uh, black American program or festival during a Nelson Mandela Day. I'm just putting that out there as an example. That's disrespectful. So, just showing you. We have to do better, black people and African people. We have to do better. Let me check this one out. This is the Asian sister that I was telling y'all about. So let's check out what she's saying.
To know what's your problem with Haitians. I'm not just talking about immigrants. I'm not just talking about illegal immigrants because there are so many white people here, okay, that are immigrants, illegal immigrants. But you guys don't find any problem with those other race. You guys have a problem with Haitians. And this is not just now. It's been going on for decades, okay? Since the 80s, African Americans always hate on Haitians, okay? In high school, you guys used to call us boat people, okay? Friendship. We were getting beat up every day by African Americans. I really want to know why. Okay? I really want to know why you guys hate on us that much. Because any other race who comes here, okay, once their skin is lighter, guess what? They come together with your oppressor and look down on you and treat you like crap, call you names, call you Negroes, and you guys don't have any problem with that. They call you lazy, they think that you are on welfare, you don't do anything with your life, you just stay there, sit there, smoke and get high and drinks, okay? But guess what? You guys don't have a problem with them. You guys, all your hatred, it's towards Haitians. You guys hate Haitians more than you hate your own oppressor. Okay? You have Chinese people who comes here. All of you guys go and get hair, nails, eyebrows, you name it. Okay? At the Chinese. They are the most racist towards y'all. Guess what? You guys don't have no problem with them. Okay? You guys take your business to them every day. You do not call them and tell them to go home. Okay? What Haitian have done to you? Nothing. When we come here, we come to work, we come to school, and then I'm not just saying that the numbers don't lie. You can go and look it up for yourself to see how many Haitians being graduated from high school, from college, from university, how many Haitian who's working in the system, okay, has nurses, doctors, okay? When we come here, we do not come to take your job. We come to take what's ours. And I say it all the time. Because if it was yours, you would have taken it. You speak the language better than us, right? Oh, I forgot. Some of you speak nothing but slang. Okay? Yes, we may have an accent, but guess what? We speak good English. Okay? And this post, that's what pissed me off the most. It's when that freaking loser said we should be ashamed of ourselves. Are you serious that the Dominicans they did this? Even they dark skin, whenever they talking, they say me not black, me no black, me no black, me Dominicans. You guys don't have a problem with them. And now you have the nerve to say Dominicans or we should be ashamed because a country that we used to do this, we used to do that, they are better than us. Then again, it's because you are ignorant. Okay? Because if you knew exactly what's going on, you will know that everything, all those things been designed. The same hatred that you have for Haitians, okay, your oppressors, because of what I'm gonna say. You guys always say, oh, we guys always talking about history. Yes, because of that freaking freedom that you are enjoying right now, that this is the price Haitians still paying. This is the price that we are paying now for DR to turn around and treat us like that. DR is acting exactly like you guys acting. Okay? The same island that you freed from their oppressors, guess what? They love their oppressors more, they love their saviors. And you guys are fucking doing the same thing. You guys hate Haitians who fucking freed your ass more than your oppressor who's still having their boots on your neck as I'm speaking. Who's taking your job away? Who's taking your health care away? Who's taking your education away? But yet, you guys are okay with that. But you guys hate on Haitian who has nothing to do with what you guys are going in the US. Okay? You guys feel so comfortable to talk crap about Haitian, thinking that, oh yeah, you guys are different. No, you're not different. You are not different than us because remember, when they come from me, they might take you for mistake. They might take you for a Haitian person because there is no difference between you and I. We are the fucking same. The only difference is where you were dropped off. Okay? It's where you were dropped off. And if you know your geography well, you will know that here, America, that's where I'm from. Okay? Haiti, it's right there. 1 hour and 1 hour and a half from the fucking USA. Okay? But you have illegal European who are here. You don't have a problem with them. You don't tell them to go home. This is my freaking continent. Okay? So if you don't have a problem with Chinese, with European being here, some of them illegally, you don't have a problem with that. Why why do you care about us Haitians? Why? You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Okay? Then when white people are talking crap about you guys feel offended, or when they're telling you that okay, it's been 200 years since you been freed, why you still talking about racism, and you turn around and think that you are a victim, right? And then you guys turn around and say do the same thing to Haitian when we are telling you what we are going through in Haiti, and then most of you are saying, oh, all I hear it's excuses. Why don't you guys go to your country and fix it? Why don't you fix your problem here too, honey boo boo? If it was that easy, why don't you fix your problem? Why? I want to know why you don't freaking, I mean, fix your problem here if it's that easy. Okay? And white people will always win. The reason why? Because they stick together, unlike us. Okay? We always fighting among each other. We always think that we are superior than the other. We are not. We are all in the same freaking baskets. Okay? So when you have something else to say about Haitian, think fucking twice. Or use all your hatred, use it towards your oppressor, not Haitians. Because we are not the one to fuck with. Dear African Americans,
Oh boy. Hey, I mean, it's what it is. She's just speaking her truth. Okay, we almost finished, y'all. This is a board or Africana.
A marriage between two people is exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Yep.
The question, oh, why can't a black person come here? Is not the right question. It's more a question like a marriage between two people is exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Yep.
Or and in your wedding, in your marriage, you're exclusive. Doesn't mean it's not built on hate. It's built on love for our culture. We want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our traditions, our faith, our language. These are the things that we want to preserve.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africa.
The land here we bought, we paid for it.
From
Right.
who?
Well, at that stage, we bought it from the previous owner, which was the government. Right? Pretty
But
much that.
I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in.
Our name is Afrikaners. Our language is Afrikaans.
Hmm.
Right. So we feel part of this continent, and maybe people don't agree, but I don't have another home. I'm not. I'm not. Obviously, I know that I have European roots.
Yeah.
400 years ago.
Yeah.
For 400 years, my people have been here.
Yeah.
I love Africa. I don't want to live anyplace else. I feel a part of this continent. My language grew, obviously from Dutch, but it grew on this continent.
With all the monument that I see in here, would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Well, I think obviously these are controversial figures, and I think the fact that we put them here in Orania with our own funding, some people are uncomfortable in the rest of South Africa to care for them, to see them in public, because this is on private land, private funds, and it's our history.
But I know it's your history. But at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you're embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu leader? You know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africa.
That is a question. This is a question for Iranians.
He was more like the architect for apartheid. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that he implemented a lot of policies in the apartheid era.
You don't think it's because of this that's why people have problems, it's because so many South Africans are not happy with this history, even though it's part of them. But I believe, like you just said, let the past be past. I mean, we can never forget our history. But I mean, I feel like this being here, it's more like a, what do you call it? Like a sword in the eyes of the people of South Africa.
I don't think so.
Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
I do not believe that we are practicing racism. To tell you the truth, I've said it many times that if the question is, are there racists in Iran? I can assure you they are. There are racists in every town in South Africa, and every country in the world will find racists. That is a fact. The Orania model is a model of cultural preservation, and that is not racist. So you might disagree with me, but my personal belief, my honest belief, is that the Orania model is not racist at all. It is, however, a model to preserve something that we hold dear and to create a future where we can live our values, our religion, our language, and share our culture.
If you check when South Africa gained independence, if you check the coat of arms of South Africa, it said there is unity in diversity. Orania is within South Africa. But at the end of the day, I believe what you are practicing here is not unity in diversity.
I beg to differ.
Can you explain that?
How can there be any diversity in South Africa if cultures are not allowed to be themselves? How can there be any diversity at all? If everyone is the same, there's no diversity. If you have a cultural community and you have the Xhosa people, the Barulong people, and they also embrace their identity, and from a standpoint of knowing who you are, of being proud of your culture, of embracing who you are, you get to a point of self-confidence where you then can put out your hands and say, without anyone forcing us, I can build a diplomatic relationship with this list, and we can do it on our own terms, community to community. That's unity and diversity. To just write it on a coat of arms doesn't mean anything. To live it by creating your own identity. Identity is needed for diversity. Without identity, there is no diversity. Listen, what you're not going to get in Orania is people falling on their knees, continuously saying sorry for their history. A lot of people apologized on our behalf for everything, and there's a lot of internal Afrikaner friction about that. But in Orania, you will find solutions. Maybe it's not the nice cherry on top stuff. People feel warm in their heart. Oh, Orania is so nice to us. But you will find long-term solutions in terms of labor policies, in terms of community-to-community relationships, and in terms of the way we think. The question, oh, why can't a black person come here? Is not the right question.
That's lying. But I have to leave that alone because, like I said, I wanted us to come to South Africa, but shoot, they acting the most. So they want be under talking about the oppressor is the same as the oppressor. They see them as they identify them as same as them or something like that. A part of them. Yeah, that's ridiculous. You want those suckers to sit up here and continue to colonize you. It's ridiculous.
So BBC is doing or was doing a documentary about these xenophobic attacks of Afrophobic attacks that are happening throughout South Africa. I'm sure you are well acquainted with that or what is happening in South Africa. Thanks to Jesita Ngobese Zuma, the leader or founder of March and March, who has unleashed hell on African migrants. Literally, her organization is seen in the streets beating up foreigners. At this point, they don't even care if you are illegal or legally in the country. They are forcing foreign-owned businesses to shut down without even asking if they are complying to the laws of South Africa. As long as you're a foreigner or you can speak isiZulu, then you are a target to these African migrant groups or these anti-illegal African migrant group, as they like to describe themselves. So BBC is doing a documentary on that. And they are hearing, they're interviewing both races, the white and black races, just to find out how we are feeling about this new political climate that has impaled South Africa. So they interviewed this white man. I think he's a farmer or a business owner. I don't know. They interviewed him and they're like, don't you think the reason South Africans are acting this way is because of the huge wealth gap that has contributed to poverty, high unemployment rate in the black community? Don't you think they are acting this way because of such social norms? Don't you think they are running on empty? Don't you think economically they're repressed and they're angry and they're lashing out? And unfortunately, the migrants are the collateral damage in this journey they have embarked on. And the white man says, yeah, I strongly believe that is the case. That is the case. And the presenter or the filmmaker, the documentary presenter, further asked the white man if he misses apartheid. And the white man says, no, I don't miss the apartheid. And that is when it starts to get tricky. He said he doesn't miss apartheid, and the presenter was like, well, do you think that it's fair that black people still live in poverty, that black people still do not own a majority of their lands, or they have not had their lands compensated back to them? There was no form of compensation. Aren't you baffled or a little bit worried about the wealth gap in South Africa? And the white man said, no, I'm not worried about that. They are fine wherever they are. They seem fine with it. We've been living in a harmony for a long time. So why disrupt the status quo? And I'm like, of course, that explains why he does not miss apartheid, because apartheid still lingers in the air. It still lingers in the economy field. It still lingers socially. Everywhere it is, it still lingers. South Africa, black South Africans make up 86% of the population, yet they hold 10% of this country's wealth, while the whites make up literally 15% of South Africa's population, yet 80% of the country's wealth still is in their hands. So don't tell me that apartheid is over. Don't tell me apartheid is over when the economical fragment of it still lingers in the end. We're feeling it as the black community today, 32 years into democracy, and there's nothing to show for it. And I always say this, you guys, that a lot of these social injustices, these high unemployment, high crime rate, all these bad economic factors affect the black community. And even the immigration crisis, both legally or illegal, they affect the black communities. And this is the black communities lashing out. So this man does not miss apartheid because apartheid still lives on. The policies of apartheid has never been scrapped. Matter of fact, the constitution that was enshrined in 1996 still borrows some sentiments and policies from the apartheid era. So of course they won't miss apartheid because they're still living in it. Duh. Hello, dweep. So anyway, the documentary maker, the presenter, further asked him that um, what do you think about the black leadership of South Africa? They say they gotten democracy, but there's nothing to show for it. What do you think about the leadership? Don't you think they failed them? And he said, well, black people aren't meant to lead. They are inferior to us. They're never meant to be leaders. So I'm not surprised at what is happening in the country today because of black leadership. And I'm like, these people are not repentant. These people don't feel any kind of remorse, basically. They're not sorry. We've forgiven people that did not ask for forgiveness. So what did we expect? Check out this clip.
Do you miss the apartheid era?
No, I don't miss the apartheid era. I don't miss that. I miss the unity that was there.
But land was taken from black people during apartheid.
No, I don't think so.
It was.
Not that I know of.
So you don't think any black people were moved from?
They were not moved forcibly, for sure not.
There are only about 4% of black farmers on private land. That's tiny. That's not right, is it?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
How can that be when they are 80% of the population?
Because they don't know how to farm.
Do you think that black people are inferior when it comes to working the land?
No, not from working in the land, but from leadership, yeah.
Yeah. I basically covered what he said in my opening remarks. These people are not sorry. They're not sorry. Matter of fact, they are the reason maybe we are in this chaotic state today. Maybe they are funding this chaos that is happening. Not maybe, they are funding this chaos already. So, yeah, we are not in a position of change. I saw an article, some white boy that I actually really like. He's sort of like a political analyst, some sort. He's a very young white boy. And he said, well, if you want to see that in South Africa, the black people of South Africa don't really have economic freedom or the democracy they think they have. It's all on paper, but in reality, it is not implemented. If you want to see that the South African government is not really in control, they are just the faces. The white people are the puppets. Look at what South Africa is doing. They are taking Israel to the ICJ court, yet they still supply coal to Israel. Matter of fact, South Africa is the biggest supplier of coal to Israel. The very same coal they use to make or generate these offensive weapons that they are busy firing throughout the Middle East. So, yeah, South Africa might say one thing, but in terms of implementation, it's so behind. Matter of fact, I think it's the whole continent. They claim that we have freedom. They claim that we are independent. They claim that we are a democratic continent. They claim that we have rights. But as of late, none of the things on paper have been implemented. As of late, we are wondering whether if Africa is in control, they own most of the riches, or they're just on autopilot and waiting for their next order from the Western world. There is absolutely no reason why in South Africa we have a white-led party in the government of national unity. 32 years into democracy, we have a white party ruling South Africa. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't know. They claim, the DA, by the way, the Democratic Alliance Party, the white-led party, claims that they are the second biggest political parties, yet they fail to fill up stadiums. They fail to fill up stadiums whenever it's election season, yet they claim that they're the second biggest political party, surpassing Julius Malema. Yeah, cuckoo. So, of course, this white man does not miss apartheid because we are still living in it. The only difference is that they stop beating our asses, but in reality, we are still living it, still living in poverty. The Truth and Reconciliation, I want to say program. It's not a program really. It is a committee that was formed by the Department of Justice in South Africa to redress the crimes that were committed during apartheid, to hold those that committed heinous crimes against black people during apartheid must be brought to book. None of these people, none of these suspects or perps have been brought to order. No white person from apartheid has been arrested or held accountable. So you think you're living in no, there's still a lot to be fixed. There's no land that has been compensated. No land that has been compensated or brought back to its rightful owners. So yeah, no, it's democracy on paper, but in terms of implementation, I'm sorry guys to tell you, you're still living in poverty. You're still living in apartheid. The only difference is that they stop beating us, but the spirit of apartheid and oppression and colonialism continues. So of course, and when he says the ANC is not meant to lead, he's absolutely right. The ANC is not meant to lead independently. It's supposed to lead under the thumb of the white supremacists of this country. He should have placed it like that. But we're all not ready for that conversation because your people that you look up to are Jacinta Ngobe Zuma, the March and March, the people you look up to that are actually funded by the people that want to see this country destabilized, aka America and Israel and the Boers. They feed you this a huge game to make you feel like you're in control, but in reality, they are part of a broader agenda to bring South Africa down, to taint our image globally. So you're not in control of anything. This man, actually, I agree with him. He's absolutely right. What do you think about the segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations right here on the African Diaspora News channel. No
Union is at the European Union is at it again. Their obsession with control, with pressure, and also with sanctions, especially when the people on the receiving end are Africans and the black race. And the latest development is coming from the Caribbean. The European Union is spitting fire and threatening the Caribbean nations, the same Caribbean nations that are systematically attempting to reintegrating and reuniting with their African brothers and sisters across the Atlantic. And the European Union does not like that kind of unity. They do not like any reunion between the Africans on the mainland and the Africans who are turned away from this continent on slave ships, courtesy of the same Europeans. So what is the bone of contention this time? What is their problem with Africa and the Caribbean this time? You may have heard of something they call citizenship by investment. It's a kind of citizenship you acquire by investing in another country. It is exactly what it sounds like. You invest in a country that offers this kind of program, and that country makes you a citizen of their own country. Now, in the Caribbean, we have 5 countries that run this kind of programs. You bring your money, they vet you, and they give you their passport along with their citizenship. There are actually 5 countries like Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and even St. Lucia. The entry point of this kind of passport is roughly $200,000. You make a qualifying investment or a contribution to the National Development Fund, and then you pass their checks before they can give you their passport. And with that passport, you can travel visa-free to about 140 countries and territories, including the Schengen area of Europe. Now, who are the people that are buying this passport? Actually, it's a lot of people from all over the world. But among them, the majority is Africans. And we all know why Africans are buying these passports. We all know the reason. Africans are not allowed visa-free access to most of the places that matter for business, travel, and tourism. Africans, we face some kind of open discrimination in global mobility. Think about this. Citizens of any European country can enter a long list of African countries. They can enter Africa visa-free or with a simple visa on arrival. But Africans cannot enter Europe without a visa that is expensive, humiliating to apply for, and very likely to be refused. It is a kind of unequal relationship, and most African countries simply accept it because how dare they challenge their former colonial rulers? But one country in Africa decided they will not take it anymore, and that country is Namibia, ladies and gentlemen, which is why I respect Namibia so much. Namibia looked at the situation and said, Europeans can enter our country freely while Namibians queue and pay and beg for European visas. And they said no. Now, since April of last year, which is 2025, under the current president, Netumbo 1992, any country that requires a visa from Namibians, they must also obtain a visa to enter Namibia. More than 30 countries were affected. Countries like France, Germany, Spain, the usual suspects, including the United States and many more. They call it the doctrine of reciprocity, and that is fair. That is exactly how it should be. If I need visa to enter your country, you must have a visa to enter my own country. So why a lot of countries in Africa accept the imbalance? Individual Africans have been finding a way around these restrictions on their freedom of mobility. And yes, I will call it that. Africans have been restricted from the basic freedom to move around the world. The rich ones among us, because let us be honest, it's not everybody that can afford $200,000. The Africans who can afford it and who value their ability to travel without begging embassies, queuing up for visas and sometimes getting refused. The rich one among us have been buying this Caribbean citizenship, and with that Caribbean passport, they can travel around the world without the hassle of queuing up for visas. And guess who is not happy about that? It is the usual suspects. The Europeans are not happy. They are saying that the Caribbeans are handing out citizenship to people who are not properly vetted. And those people can then enter Europe visa-free. So Europe wants to block that avenue, the very avenue that Africans have been using to travel, free, to travel visa-free to most places, including Europe. So you see what I'm trying to say here. And you might argue that Europe is simply worried about security, about criminals buying passports. It's also a fair point, because later in this episode, I'm going to show you one sentence written by the European Commission itself. That sentence destroys that excuse completely. So in this episode, I will give you what the Europeans are saying, the deadlines they are giving to the Caribbean, the threat, and the bigger story underneath all of this, the reunion between Africa and the Caribbean that is making some people in Brussels very uncomfortable. But first, let me welcome you once again to Frontline Africa. You already know what we do on this channel. This is where we talk geopolitics from Africa's own point of view. We try our best to filter out the noise, and we focus on what is verified. And then we bring you analysis that is grounded in fact, not fake news or emotions. So if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please support what we are building here. We are very close to 100,000. Yes, on this channel, less than 500 people, and we'll be hitting that holy grail. Join this movement, ring that bell, because every single day we must show up with a story that matters to Africans at home and Africans in the diaspora. Our story touches every African, no matter where you are. And today's story touches the diaspora directly. It is a special episode for Africans that like to travel the world, because Europe is not happy that we have found a way to travel around the world without queuing for their visas. Now, let me give you the facts of what is happening right now, and I will do it step by step, because this story is moving fast, and I want to set the record very straight. Everything starts with a quiet legal change in Brussels, as always. They like to regulate everything, sanction, and make the rules. Now, on December 30th of 2025, the European Union's revised visa suspension mechanism entered into force. That is the legal tool the EU uses to take away a country's visa-free access. And in the revised version, they added something new to the list of reasons for suspension: the operation of an investor citizenship program. Yeah, that is exactly what they want to attack this time because Africans are using it to travel. In that same period, the European Commission published their 8th report under this mechanism. And by the Commission's own estimate, about 100,000 passports or more than 100,000 passports have been issued across these 5 Caribbean countries that are offering this type of programs. Then came the letters on June 25 of 2026. The European Commissioner for Internal Affairs and Migration, Magnus Brunner, this guy signed letters to all the 5 Caribbean governments. The demand is simple. Phase out your citizenship by investment programs by June 1 of 2028. They gave them a 24-month transition period, and then the program must be gone. This is what the European Union is demanding. And on top of that, by September of 2026, which is actually next month, as I record this, the 5 governments are expected to tighten their screening of applicants and systematically exclude anyone under EU sanctions. And we know who their target is. It is Africans. And their response will be judged in the Commission's next visa suspension report, which is due in December of this 2026. Now, I like to be accurate. June 1, 2028 is not an automatic cutoff date for visa-free travel. Nothing has been suspended yet. Citizens of all 5 countries in the Caribbean that are offering this program, they can still enter the Schengen area visa-free as of today, as they have done since 2015. What the Commission issued is a formal request backed by a loaded weapon, because under the revised mechanism, they now have the legal power to pull the trigger. And the Caribbean responded very quickly. On July 10, 2026, the heads of government met in Dominica under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Philip Perry of St. Lucia was also there. Gaston Brunner of Antigua and Barbuda, and all the leaders from the countries offering this citizenship by investment, they were there. Together, they agreed to send a high-level mission to Brussels to meet with the President of the European Commission, the President of the European Council, and the EU's High Representative to argue their case directly to the powers that be in Europe. These guys that like to make all the rules for the rest of the world, especially Africans. Their joint statement was actually diplomatic, and they were very careful with their words. But Prime Minister Brown said something separately that tells you how serious this has become. He said his country will not be pressured into ending this program. And he described this program as, according to him, critical pillars of our non-tax revenue base. Yes, they actually earn a lot of revenue from these programs, and Europe want them to shut it down. You need to keep that at the back of your mind because it is critical to the rest of this story. Now, let me show you why the official excuse does not survive contact with evidence on ground. Because for years, the European Union story was about vetting, screening, making sure criminals don't get access. They said the background checks were weak, and they also said criminals could slip through their weak system. They said people were buying this passport mainly to reach Europe. And you know what the Caribbean did? They actually complied. They tightened their screening process again and again. They introduced mandatory interviews for applicants. They raised the entry price to around $200,000, which was actually half of this amount when it newly started. And they strengthened due diligence, expanded information sharing with international partners, and they built a joint regional regulator for this program. They were serious to make sure they don't break the rules. But despite everything they did, it's not going to be enough because Europe have an agenda. Antigua and Barbuda had just brought a new bill mandating annual independent financial audit of its citizens unit, and they are raising the residency requirement from 5 days to 30 days, reform after reform after reform, exactly as requested by Europe. Yet, it is not enough because the problem is not lack of vetting. The problem is they don't want Africans to have this freedom of mobility. And then Brussels changed the rules of the game entirely. This is the sentence I promised you earlier on from the European Commission's own reports. The operation of such programs, and I want to quote, they said it constitutes in itself a ground for suspending the visa-free status of third countries. In itself, that is what they are saying. And as Antigua's government summarized this new position by the European Union, they said it doesn't matter how well this program is managed. The European Union have already made up their mind. Think about that. Regardless of how well it is managed, that sentence written in Europe, it is essentially a confession. It's not about due diligence here. They just don't want Africans. So if a perfectly managed program is still guilty, then vetting was never the real issue. The issue is the existence of the program itself and the existence of a route that lets people.
What if I told you that the moment your book is published, there could be a giant billboard featuring you and your book in Times Square? And in addition, a video trailer that tells your book's story, a paid advertising campaign.
The European visa system was designed to keep out, simply pass through that system. They want to tighten the noose around Africa. And do not think for a second that this threat is empty. There is actually a precedent, and its name is Vanuatu. The EU suspended Vanuatu's visa waiver back in 2022 over its citizenship program, partially restored it, then suspended it again in 2024. The United Kingdom has already gone further with the Caribbean itself. They removed their visa-free access for Dominica in 2023 and for St. Lucia in 2025. They are citing these same programs as the reason why they are cutting visa-free access to them. So when Europe points at this weapon, everybody at that meeting in the Caribbean talking about this issue, they know that the weapon has been fired before. They can use it anytime they want. So if vetting was never the issue, what is it, ladies and gentlemen? I will show you who actually uses this passport and why. Because this is where the story becomes an African story. It's always an African story. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Africans apply for the Schengen visa. The fee is 90 euros. They raised it from 80 euros in July of 2024. And it is actually non-refundable. So if they refuse you, they will keep your money. And they refuse Africans at rates you will never believe. Yes, in 2024, according to European Commission data, more than 50,000 Nigerian applications were rejected. Nearly half of every Nigerian that submitted application, they were rejected. And when you look across the continent, rejection rate ran between 45 and 63% for countries like Comoros, Senegal, Nigeria, and Ghana. And when the Lago Collective, a London-based research organization, added up the cost, they found that African applicants lost about 60 million euros, roughly 67 million, in a single year, paid to European government for visas they never received. They have found that calls it reverse remittances, money flowing from the poorest countries to the richest countries for the privilege of being, rejected. You will apply, we will collect your money, but we are going to reject you. We're not going to let you into our countries. And it is not only poor Africans that are getting this treatment. Yes, even Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa, he has complained publicly how many visas his Nigerian passport forces him to obtain just to move around and do business. Where it doesn't fix this problem, ladies and gentlemen, because it is not the person being judged, it is the passport, especially when you carry a green Nigerian passport. No matter how rich you are, there is this unusual vetting that comes with it. Now, put yourself in the position of a wealthy African, a manufacturer in Lagos, a tech founder in Accra, or a doctor in Nairobi who needs to attend conferences, close deals, and visit suppliers. You can keep paying 90 euros to be humiliated, at their consulate, or you can pay $200,000 once, become a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis or Dominica, and travel to 140 destinations with your head held high. That is not a scandal. That is a rational answer to an irrational system. And this is the part that exposes this hypocrisy. The entire justification for rejecting African visa applicants is so-called immigration risk. They call it immigration risk. The fear that people will overstay and become a burden. But somebody who just invested $200,000 in a second citizenship is not coming to Europe to seek welfare. They are already rich. The usual excuse collapses when you look at the fact is that it's actually rich Africans that are buying these passports. Industry firms serving this market report that demand from African investors, Nigerians especially, has been rising for years. So when Europe moves to short this route, you should at least be honest about your real agenda, your motive. Don't hide behind poor vetting. Now look at the Caribbean side of this equation, because these are not large countries. St. Kitts and Nevis has fewer than 50,000 people. Dominica around 70,000 people. For islands this size, exposed to hurricanes and dependent hugely on tourism, citizenship by investment is not a side hustle for this country. It is, in Prime Minister Brownie's exact words, a critical pillar of non-tax revenue. It has rebuilt infrastructure after storms. It funds a lot of projects in the Caribbean. And now the European Union is telling them to shut it down. You know, they are telling them that if they don't shut it down, they will remove visa-free access for their countries. And you need to understand the trap here, because the trap is very obvious. The visa-free access to Europe is one of the key selling points of this passport. So if the Caribbean keeps selling citizenship and EU suspends their visa-free access, the product will lose much of its value and the revenue will disappear anyways. If they shut the program down themselves, the revenue dies immediately. Either road runs through Europe, and either way, the Caribbean, they are holding the shorter end of this stick, ladies and gentlemen. And there is more to this story, more than just suspending their visa-free access in 2028 that too many people are missing. That December 2026 report, that is where the Commission grades their behavior first. And in 2027, Europe's new travel authorization system comes online, which means even visa-free travelers will need electronic pre-clearance from Europe. Layer by layer, the control is tightening. But to report this fairly, I must tell you what is true at this point. Nothing is suspended yet, like I said earlier on. It is a process, and it will get to that point very, very soon.
I'm 49 years old. Last month, I caught my wife crying in the bathroom because I couldn't get hard in bed. She wouldn't even look at me anymore. We're basically roommates. So I tried everything. Rhino 69, $22.
The Caribbean is currently negotiating, and the immigration lawyers following this expect a compromise rather than a complete cutoff. So at the end of the day, if they bargain well or if they stand their ground, they might end up having a compromise with the European Union. Now, let me show you the background picture of all of this, the one that makes this whole confrontation mean something even more. Because Africa and the Caribbean, they are not strangers that are drifting towards each other. This is a reunion of one people that is being formalized in real time. We all know that the African Union has officially declared the diaspora, the Caribbean specifically, the 6th region of Africa. The first CARICOM Africa Summit was actually held in September 7 of 2021. And the two blocs committed to institutionalize their cooperation, the cooperation between Africa and the Caribbean. So we are seeing deliberate efforts to kind of reintegrate Africa with the Caribbean, because we were one people before we were torn apart by the slave ship. And this year, the reunion became physical. On May 24, 2026, this year, Air Peace, which is actually Nigeria's biggest airline, they began direct monthly flight from Lagos to Antigua and Barbados. As I speak, Air Peace is the only direct air link between West Africa and the Caribbean. And it goes even deeper. Air Peace Caribbean subsidiary actually owns 70% of their own regional carrier in partnership with the government of Antigua and Barbuda, which holds the other 30%. A Nigerian airline is now part owner of the Caribbean's own regional airline. That is integration that you can count on. It is happening. And the political reunion is also moving very fast. From August 2 to August 5 of this year, we saw President John Mahama of Ghana. He made a state visit to Jamaica. On August 3, he joined Sir Harry Bakos, the chairman of the CARICOM Reparations Commission, for a high-level reparations dialogue at the University of West Indies. That visit was built on the conference Ghana hosted in Accra on June 18, where CARICOM and the African Union jointly adopted a revised framework for reparatory justice. And on a United Nations resolution that was passed this year, we also how John Mahama championed it, and it was supported by 123 countries, recognizing the trafficking of enslaved Africans as the gravest crime against humanity, which is exactly why we have our African brothers in the Caribbean in the first place. And still, Europe will still let us reunite. Now, let me put all of this together so that I can establish the timeline cleanly of how this is unfolding. On June 18, Africa and the Caribbean adopt a joint reparation framework in Accra. June 25, exactly 1 week later, the European Commission signs letters demanding the Caribbean dismantle their citizenship programs that connect it to African investors. I'm not telling you that these two events are connected. I have no document to prove the intent of the European Union, but I'm telling you the same continent that owes both sides of this reunion reparation spent that week drafting an ultimatum to one half of it to actually cut ties or limit the way the Caribbean is trying to reunite with Africa. And this is how I understand the situation, because centuries ago, Europeans came to Africa with their slave ships and scattered Africans across the Caribbean and the Americas, and they did it by force. Today, their descendants on both sides of the Atlantic are choosing each other again. We know we are one people. We are trying to reunite. You know, they are doing it with flights connecting the two places, with citizenship, with commissions, with a common reparation agenda. And at this same moment, Europe reaches for the one leverage that they still hold, you know, visa-free access to their countries, and they are using it to make the reunion more expensive. Meanwhile, the traffic in the other direction, it has never stopped. Europeans still enter most African countries. They do it with visa-free, with ease, you know, and European companies still extract mineral wealth from Africa. They come to Africa visa-free and we still apply and get refused. And when the wealthiest among us manages to buy a second citizenship, that too must now be shut down. You will see people saying Africans should stay in Africa. The same voices whose ancestors actually drag Africans out of Africa in chains. That is the injustice I wanted to highlight in this episode. This is what I would like to call colonial injustice still happening in modern day. They still want to control how Africans can move around the world. But I will not leave you with anger alone, ladies and gentlemen, because anger will build nothing. The deeper lesson here is capacity. The reason 5 sovereign nations can be cornered like this is that their prosperity depends on access that is controlled by Europe. The visa-free access, which is actually the backbone of this citizenship by investment in the Caribbean. The only reason why the Africans need a walk-around passport at all is that we have not built the leverage that commands respect. Namibia is showing what self-respect looks like, you know, reciprocity. They are applying it very calmly, and they are doing it as a policy. Now, imagine that doctrine at continental scale. African countries negotiating mobility as equals, and an African Caribbean corridor with their own airlines, our own banks, you know, real integration with our own arrangement that no third party can control. Namibia is teaching us what can happen when an African country decides to, you know, grow some pay and do things the right way, reciprocity. And this is where I will leave it with you, because we're going to continue this conversation in the comment section. You already know that the comment section of this channel is a gold mine. Very brilliant people watch this channel. And even I learn from what they write on the comments. So I will leave these 3 important questions for you. And I need us to have an honest conversation about this matter in the comment section. This is my number 1 question. Should 5 sovereign Caribbean nations have the right to decide who becomes their citizen? Or does Europe's control of its own borders justify this ultimatum? Tell me honestly which side carries more weight for you and why. And my number 2 question is this. If you were African and you could afford it, would you buy a Caribbean passport with $200,000, knowing its visa-free access to Europe may not survive 2028? And if you have ever been rejected for a European visa and lost your fee, tell us your story, because those stories are the real data behind this episode. And my final question is this. Namibia chose reciprocity. Should the African Union push all 55 member states to adopt the same doctrine? no visa-free entry for any country that refuses visa-free entry to Africans, even if it costs us some tourism in the short term. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you want to continue to see my content, now will be a very good time to finally subscribe to this channel, because every single day we must bring something very important. Also ring that bell so you don't miss any of my future episodes. I am still your host, Ezekiel Enejeta, and I will see you in the next one. It's a bye-bye for now.
Okay, that's my last one.
All right. Not long ago, we had the discussion of the Europeans who sat down and they were talking about giving reasons why Africans do not deserve Africa. And today, we are hearing a grandfather that have grandchildren saying that if whites leave Africa, but they were talking specifically about South Africa, although they made mention of other countries, right? Because this is their belief that if Europeans exit Africa, Africa will not be able to feed. I had to laugh. You know why? I'm living inside farm itself. And you're saying, anyway, I don't know for other people, but I'm living inside farm. And you say, when you go, I will not be able to feed. Like, something will happen. The sun will not shine differently if you exit Africa. In short, the sun will shine very nice. The air in the continent will be so beautiful because you have left. And you sit where you are. An old man of his age is saying that if Europeans leave, Africans cannot feed. He is talking specifically about South Africa. That South Africa will never survive if the whites leave. How were South Africans surviving before they came and squat? Remember, these people are settlers. They came as settlers. They were wandering around. They were wanderers. And they came as settlers, and South Africans' ancestors gave them a place to stay. Before you know, they started enlarging and making families.
I build the life of my dreams working 4 hours a day. I live in a penthouse in Dubai and live life completely on my own terms. I need to be brutally honest with you. If anyone asked me how to build an online business, the very last thing I would tell them.
That is how we have them today. Just Malema will tell you that these people, it is not your land. I like that about him. Outrightly, he's been saying it to them. Okay? And then you are now saying that we cannot eat if you leave. Do you know what food is even? How many food do you eat? Do you know how an average African family feed? Listen to him.
Everybody needs to say this, especially South Africans. Pay attention.
If the whites leave Africa, and I was thinking more or less of South Africa because I said most whites already left other places in Africa, then what will happen to the food production?
So is it the reason for this because black people don't know how to farm?
No, I didn't say they don't. They don't like farming, maybe, but I don't know if they don't. I don't know if they can't, but they don't like it. They are subsistence farmers, but by nature.
That is not true. There are many countries in Africa where black people run very big and successful farms. There's a big weather problem in Africa on the whole. How do you think all the people of Kenya eat? Do you think there's no farms that function in big countries like Kenya and Nigeria? Nigeria has a population of 200 million people. Where do you think they get their food from?
The food production in South Africa, for example, is fantastic. And it's the result of extremely capable Afrikaans, mostly farmers, who have got the art of farming in this dry country to a fine art over 400 years. And if these people leave, then the population is going to go back to what it was. The black population will go back to what it was 100 years ago. And I know this is true in some respect because I have been in Zambia and Zimbabwe, and with many people there. I've aircraft and I fly there. I have many interests, had many interests over the years. The people in those places, in the rural areas, are starving to death as we speak.
Errol, a few things, right? So Zimbabwe and Zambia's populations have also increased in the last 100 years. And yes, while there are acute problems in Zimbabwe and Zambia, the people are eating. Secondly, and this is more important, if the white people in South Africa are good farmers, this is well known, but they also own the farming lands and they own the farming machinery, and as a result, they own the farming know-how. Do you really believe that if they left, and if you know these expertise, this land, this machinery, these techniques were left to black people, that they would just starve themselves and be incapable of farming themselves?
Yes.
You believe that?
Absolutely no doubt about it. People have different talents. Some people are set up by nature over history to be a group of maybe 2,000 or 3,000. Other people develop the ability to be a group of many thousands.
In South Africa, 10% of the population is white. The white people own 72% of all the private land in South Africa.
Well, nobody gave me any land, so I don't know how that happened.
Can you just imagine? Can you just imagine what this man is saying? You see, this is how many of these people see us, we the Africans. Many of them think we cannot take care of ourselves. We are irresponsible. Yeah. Just listen to this man. You took the land belonging to South Africans. You control more than 70% of their land. And right now you are here saying that they don't like to farm. Where do you expect them to farm when you have taken their land? Where? Before I left Nigeria, I was a farmer. My father was a farmer. Go to many places in Africa. People are farming. People love farming. And you are here saying that we don't like to farm. You just give back what you have stolen from Africa. The land you took from South Africans. Stop stealing from Africa and see if we will not be able to take care of ourselves. Yeah. You know, this is why Julius Malema always say, we Africans, we have a common enemy. Yeah. The best way for we to fight this enemy is for the whole of Africa to unite. Unity. Unity. Yeah. Anyways, South Africans, open your eyes.
Yeah. And before some of you would want to support his idea, take South Africa as an example. He claimed that no one gave him a land. But it is there in record. Over 70% of South African land is owned by the whites, who are predominantly farmers. They took the land and they're farming. They are big-time farmers. We are aware of that. But if they were to give back this land to the South Africans, do you think that the South Africans will not be able to cultivate this land if they were to be given this land?
Word documents. That's it. I format them, upload them to Amazon, and collect royalties every month. No website, no ads, no social media. Amazon has...
You can come to Africa that was feeding and existing for eons before you existed, and then you say we can't feed ourselves if you leave. You know, they say most of these things because of the kind of hope that many Africans have in these Europeans. They see a lot of Africans disgracing themselves on the internet every day, saying that they are nothing without Europeans. And that is why they will sit and have this conception. You see, even though it's a fact that lots of persons are gradually running away from farming. I'm not saying that everybody will have to go into the farm, but is it still okay if you have one little something behind you or within your yard that provide one little fresh green for you? You see? And then there is nothing wrong if you patronize the local farmers within your jurisdiction, so that they will be encouraged to keep farming, so you can or focus on something else. Because if we all are farmers, who will buy from each other? How do we make money out of the farming if everybody becomes farmer or a big time farmers? So you can be, we are all farmers because we have one or two things within our yard that we farm that produce one or two little green for us to eat. But the big time farmers are those we should patronize within the continent. By the time we begin to cut down on buying almost everything that are imported when it comes to food, we will be doing ourselves a huge favor. And that boils down to we eating more of our local food. Most of the times, a good number of us don't like eating our local food anymore. Go to the internet, everybody is preparing intercontinental dishes. What about the local dish that you have? You don't want to prepare it, you don't want to eat it. Thereby, you are discouraging the local farmers from farming, because if you are not eating it, how would they be farming it? So we only have to turn more into consuming local foods and throw away all of this intercontinental food. Leave their food for them to eat. Eat your food within your continent. When you do that, you will help the farmers to be rich. And the moment the farmers, those who are predominantly farmers, are seeing that they are making it from farming, they will intensify the effort and they will keep farming more. You see? That is what we're saying. At least you should have fruit trees within your yard that give you your fruit. You should have vegetable garden that give you vegetables that you use for your everyday food. You see? Then the bigger farmers would be in charge of other, big time farming. And then patronize your local farmer market more. So that this man will not have mouth to sit and be saying things like this. Africans will not be able to eat if Europeans leave. Please leave Africa. Even if we will not be able to eat, leave. Allow us to die in the hunger. Okay? Now let's agree. Let's agree for the sake of this discussion now that Africans will not be able to eat if Europeans leave. Let's just agree. What is his concern? What does that have to do with him? Is he an African? Is it because Africans are pressuring whites to leave that he's beginning to say that Africa will not survive if whites leave? Then go so that we die. So that by the time we die, you come and now take over the whole of Africa. Is that not better? Why are you still wasting time? Wasting your saliva talking? You've gone to Zambia, you've gone to Zimbabwe, you have chopper, you move around up in the air and you've seen that everybody is poor. But you don't know that the poverty is not due to lack of farming, because everybody are farmers in Africa. Even the bigger men you see, they have farms somewhere that people are working for them. You are not talking about the exploitation, the thievery that Europe is doing to the continent. We are talking about farming. It's not just lack of farming that make Africa the way Africa is today. It's stealing, theft, European theft, American theft. That is what is making Africa what it is today. No matter how poor an African community is, they have food to eat. It's just because of what the internet is showing these days, where they will just go somewhere and say they're going to cook for a community and they don't have food to eat, they want to cook for them. And then you see that the food they are giving them is not even the local food. You go and give them one food like that. The children are running after those food, not because they don't have their own food to eat, because it's something new. So you see them running and rushing for it. There's no community that don't have food, especially when it is raining, when it is a harvest season. You will never see anybody poor. Have you ever seen any poor person on the street in Africa without family? Or you see that a lot in Europe and America. There are people who are poor on the streets, sleeping on the streets without house. Have you ever seen that happen in the continent? See, we are giving these people too much leverage to keep talking. And do you know how we do it? Because we ourselves have lost hope in ourselves. You see? So they make you lose hope in yourself. and then you begin to turn to them as a savior. So this white savior complex, the ideas is always in their head. We are the messiah of the world. We are the savior of African continent. This is the idea that they move around all the time in their mind. That without them, Africa cannot survive. Without them, Africa cannot live their life. In short, now they are now saying that without them, Africans cannot. Oh my. Why do you think they are running to South Africa to acquire land and farm? Because they hardly have space to farm. How many land mass do they have even? How many land mass do they have? The whole of the continent, sure, there are places in the continent that we have not even touched yet. And then we have a great-grandfather like this saying that Africa cannot feed without them. And do not get it twisted. This is the mindset of all of them. And that's why I am of the opinion that we should agitate that they should go. They should go and see whether we will die here. Are they not the same ones who are paying the Fulani to target farmers so that food will be destroyed? The same man now sitting and talking, is it not his family members that are targeting farmers in different countries in West Africa? Big time farmers, they have approached them to give them GMO seeds so that they can swap GMO seed with the organic seed. Why are they running after organic seeds in Africa and exchanging it for GMO seeds? These people always want to push a narrative so that you begin to believe it and you say, okay, since our life is in their hand, there's no other choice. We have to end up in their hand. No. Africans can never die. See, when Europe leave Africa, Africa better again. So please leave Africa alone. And if you believe that Africans will not be able to eat, will not be able to feed if you leave them, then leave them and see if they will not be able to feed. That is how you have your answer. Anyway, what do you think? In 2026, we have a grandpa like this